So in this video, I'm on a mission to get my house looking spick and span before we go on holiday next week. Because there's just absolutely nothing worse than coming home to a pigsty when you're already depressed because your holiday's over. This is what the kitchen's looking like, by the way. Fantastic. So I thought I'd start with pegging out the washing, get that out the way, and whack another load straight in because there's so much washing that needs to be done. And then I wanted to empty and bleach the bins, and I'm going to tell you why. I am traumatised after we went on holiday last summer. I emptied the bins the night before, and then for some reason that I cannot fathom, Charlie decided to have a midnight snack while we were all asleep. Prawns and crab sticks. Put them in the kitchen bin, didn't he? And I didn't realise. We come back a week later. It's the middle of summer, by the way. And I think you can imagine the smell. Have you ever watched The Labyrinth and that scene where they have to cross the bog of eternal stench? Our house smelt like the bog of eternal stench for 2 days after we got back. So no one's allowed anywhere near the bins before we go now. Rancid. It was like the worst possible food he could have eaten as well. Anyway, you live and learn. So next I decided to wash the shower curtain and the floor mat. And then I had this genius idea that I was going to clean Ike's pushchair with the floor shampoo-y thing. And yes, that is its official name. And it didn't work as well as I expected, so I decided to use a sponge. Used a bit of laundry stuff and it came out perfect, so that's good. It was looking a bit gross. We had a bit of a poo explosion on it a day before, so it definitely needed a clean. We're going to Cornwall this year for our holidays. For anyone who doesn't know the UK very well, it's the south of England, and it is just the most gorgeous place. We went before about 5 years ago when Rudy was around Ike's age now, so around 2 years old. And I'd actually just gone through a breakup with his dad pretty much the day before. He was meant to be coming on holiday with us and then some stuff happened and it ended up being me, Rudy and my family. And it turned out to be such a healing and transformative holiday. I expected to be so sad, and I was, but I was surrounded by my loved ones in this absolutely gorgeous place next to the ocean. And I just look back on the holiday so fondly and I can't wait to go again. This was me when we arrived, and you can see I'm just exhausted and broken. And this was me on the way home. And I'm so excited to share it with Charlie and Ike this time round too. And I'll be sure to make a little mini vlog to show you guys as well. So as you can see here, I'm having trouble getting anything done because Ike just wants attention, bless him. I usually feel so guilty doing full house cleans when the boys are around, but I just thought as we're going away next week, they'll get my undivided attention then. After I got the washing up done, we had a quick milk break and Ike drifted off to sleep, so I took that as the perfect opportunity to get the mopping done. It's honestly a nightmare trying to get the mopping done with Ike in the house, especially if I want to bleach the floors. He just wants to be involved in everything, bless him. I always get comments from people saying, put him in one of those packing plays or put him behind a child gate. He'd climb them. There's no containing that child whatsoever. He'd knock the child gate off the hinges out of fury. Watch this, by the way. This is how I open the window because I'm so short. The only thing the rolling pin gets used for in this house, I'm not going to lie. By the way, can I just say how absolutely mind-blowing it is that we're at 20,000 followers now? I remember when I first started doing my little cleaning videos on TikTok, and I never said a word in them. Partly because I was embarrassed by the sound of my voice, but mainly because I thought people wouldn't want to listen to what I had to say. So to hear people say things now like, I came for the cleaning but I stayed for the voiceover, it just blows me away. And I'm so grateful to anyone who decided to subscribe. And I wish I was able to reply to every single lovely comment. But there's so many now and I'm really busy. But if you commented, I just want you to know that I see you and I really appreciate you. And to know that people who need these kind of videos are finding them, I'm just so happy. Because these are the videos that I needed when I was growing up or when I first became a mum. I needed to know that I wasn't the only one who struggled with things like this. When everyone else around me seemed to be able to keep on top of things so easily. And that's why I make these videos. Obviously now the videos are reaching a wider audience, we've also had some criticism. Comes with the territory. But there were some common things brought up that I wanted to address. The first being that because my house gets so messy and there are toys and clothes strewn everywhere, it must automatically mean that I don't encourage my kids to tidy up after themselves or help around the house. I've been told a lot these past few days that I'm doing them a disservice and that if I implemented rules and routines then my life would be so much easier. And I think it's important to remember that these videos you see, they're such a small snippet of my life and that any assumptions you might have surrounding my parenting are just that, assumptions. I, of course, guide my children to tidy up around the house and help out. And a lot of the time, Rudy, my 7-year-old, he helps off his own back without prompting. My 1-year-old, that's another story. He's 1. He just trashes the place. He still absolutely loves to help me clean though when he sees me doing the floors or the sides. He's so gorgeous, bless him. But yeah, at the end of the day, they're kids. They're not going to do things perfectly. They're going to sometimes leave a trail of chaos in their wake. You know what? Not just sometimes, a lot of the time. Because they're playing and imagining and being children. It doesn't mean they're not taught to tidy. It doesn't mean they never tidy. It just means that sometimes they forget themselves. And if I'm okay with cleaning it up sometimes when Rudy's at school, sometimes, not all of the time, most of the time we tidy up together because that's less overwhelming for him. But if I'm okay with it, why are you allowing yourself to get annoyed on my behalf? Out of the pair of us, you're the only one that's got an issue. By the way, that wetsuit you just saw, I wanted to take it on holiday, but it's way too small for me. So I've got to take it back and exchange it for another one. Because since having Ike, I have literally no concept of what size I am anymore. But yeah, back to what I was saying. I'm just happy my kids feel relaxed enough around the house to let go. I had a very different experience as a child. I have a lot of people tell me, if you put these strict, no exceptions cleaning routines in place, your children will grow up to be tidy because they learn from example, and it's just that simple. But the reality is it's so much more complex and nuanced, because not everybody's wired in the same way. Growing up, my mum and my stepdad especially were very house proud. The house was always spotless. We were raised with routine and raised to be very tidy. At least that's the behaviour they tried to instill in us. But for me it was to no avail. And looking back now, it must have been a really frustrating experience for them. But I just for the life of me could not keep things tidy. And here's Mr. Mission Impossible trying to get on the chairs. This is the reason the chairs are always stacked up on the table and why we don't eat at the table at the minute. It's just too much aggro. As lovely as it is to eat together around the table, we don't do it very often at the minute. But it's only temporary. But anyway, back to what I was saying about my childhood. Growing up as a messy child in a tidy household left me with a lot of shame and this feeling that I was a bad and thoughtless person. And I still carry that with me today. And I wasn't. I was so lovely and kind. I was just creative and I lived in this dream world. When I was asked to tidy up, it caused me so much stress and overwhelm because I just didn't know where to start. And all of that shaped who I am as a parent today. So I find the insinuation that my family has no respect really jarring. They're respectful, they're kind, they're loving, they're funny. They're not disrespectful, they're distracted. And there's a huge difference. I'm also bemused by this idea that I'm completely oblivious in my parenting. And that I'm unintentionally creating these lazy and entitled monsters. My choices as a parent are intentional and informed. And they're made with so much love and life experience as a messy person. At the end of the day, if my parenting choices turn out to be the wrong ones, they're still my mistakes to make. And that's the kitchen all done. Hopefully it stays this way. In this house, things can go from 0 to 100 in about an hour. And now it's my turn to go to work and Charlie's just got back from the early shift. And we're on to the next morning, just doing a little detour to try and find some stick insect food on the way back from the school run. And I'm back to looking like Kerry Mucklow from This Country. Last night's makeup still on my face. I'm knackered. Charlie was back at work at 5 a.m. in the morning. I finished at 10 last night, so things are a bit full on at the minute. So I asked Charlie last night to just stay in maintenance mode and keep the rooms I'd already tidied clean. And then just spend the rest of his time focusing on spending time with the boys. I thought I'd get a kickstart on the living room while Ike sat and ate his breakfast. And then continuing on my little parenting chat. We all just want to do right by our kids, don't we? And we do that in the best way we know how. I'm confident it'll all fall into place in time. And if my boys turn out to struggle with executive function and organisation like me, which I imagine will be the case for at least one of them, they're lucky enough to have a mum who knows all of the tips and tricks when it becomes too overwhelming. And I'll be there to support them and lend a helping hand. Unfortunately, I haven't yet mastered the not letting it get overwhelming in the first place part, but I'm always trying to learn and grow and do better. And that's all anyone can do. I, for one, though, won't be holding standards and expectations over my boys' heads that I can't even uphold myself. What kind of hypocrisy is that? I don't know if you can see on the floor, but there's a lovely little chocolate stain with scribbles all in the middle of it, so I've got to get rid of that now. Fantastic artwork, but I would have preferred it to be on paper, I'm not going to lie. Luckily, I've not had to give this carpet shampoo-y thing back yet. It really is the most satisfying thing. I can't wait to get one of my own. By the way, if you can hear cars in the back of this voiceover, I'm really sorry. My house is next to a busy road and it's just unavoidable sometimes. But anyway, I was really hoping I could have got the whole house done in one day and then it would just be maintenance mode until holiday, but life. And that's the bedroom done, looking beautiful. I can't make a bed to save my life, but still, looks better than it did. I'm just praying now that together we're able to keep it looking nice until we get back. And then it was time for a quick tidy up of the boys' bedroom. My 1-year-old made all of this mess because his idea of playing is just pulling everything out and tipping everything out of boxes. And I don't know, might just be me, but I don't think it's fair to then ask my 7-year-old to tidy up a mess that he hasn't made. Especially when he's been sat at school for 6 hours and he just wants to chill. It's a really simple room to clean though. Everything has its rightful place. And it's just a matter of sorting things into different boxes. Look at this ridiculousness, risking a broken leg because I'm too short to hang the clothes bag up. That dinosaur bag's a lifesaver, it holds all of their little dress-up costumes. And we honestly had no more room in any of the cupboards or drawers to store them. So yeah, if anyone was looking for more storage solution ideas, hanging bag on the back of the door, perfect. I know storage is one of the main reasons our house gets so overwhelming so quickly. We have too much stuff and too little storage space. And I do have another declutter video coming up very soon, but I got waylaid. We had a little bit of a glitter explosion here. Rudy went to Legoland last year with my mum and stepdad, and they brought home this lovely snow globe portrait of them on one of the log flumes. And it fell off the top of the unit and cracked. I was heartbroken. Luckily we've managed to salvage the photo of them though. And that's the boys' room all done and looking lovely, except the windows, and I'm not bothering with them, absolutely not. Time to get rid of some more endless washing, and then it's time to start on the downstairs bathroom. Don't ask why there's a Crunchy Nut cornflakes box in there, because I couldn't tell you. And I just thought I'd put some Zaflora in the bin to make it smell extra lovely. Look at my little helper there bringing the bin back in, bless him. If this is the first video of mine you've watched, I love to do the bathroom floors by hand. It just gets into all the cracks and crevices so much easier than a mop, I think. I obviously didn't want Ike walking on Zaflora, so I was trying to guide him out of the room. But at the minute he's just so interested in everything I'm doing, it was really hard to distract him. So I tried to get it done as quickly as possible. I don't know if anyone remembers the yellow sponge incident on one of my other videos. But basically the sponges I usually buy, they come in a pack of 10 and they're all yellow. And so many people jumped to conclusions and assumed I was using the one sponge on the toilet, the sink, the floors, the upstairs toilet, just the one sponge on everything. So that was hilarious. So I've bought a pack of multicoloured sponges this time because I just can't be bothered explaining it anymore. And I know I'm not obligated to explain anything really, but sometimes I feel called to just explain a situation, like the parenting one. That's a topic I'm really passionate about and I've put a lot of thought into. So I do like to share my opinions and explain my motives and maybe answer some questions that I've gotten. I find it really helps others who are in the same boat too, to know there are others out there who do things in the same way they do. Especially with parenting, it can be such a lonely place, and everyone's got their opinions and their advice. It can sometimes feel like you're not doing anything right in anyone's eyes. So when I explain my reasoning behind things like parenting choices, or I explain things like executive dysfunction and why a house can get so messy so quickly, it's not necessarily to justify things to people or make myself feel better. I'm confident in my choices. But I'm very aware there could be a number of people watching these videos who are struggling and then they read through these awful judgmental comments. People who have got absolutely no idea what it's like to live in their shoes or my shoes. I'm explaining myself to be a voice for those who are unheard. Because while I expect criticism and nasty comments, I'm not the type to just lie down and take it. I'm not going to get angry about it and spout tit-for-tat hate, but I will try to educate. Whether people choose to listen or not, that's up to them. But as I always say, this account is a safe place for people to be their true, authentic, messy, real selves. And if that's not your cup of tea, you don't have to be here. You don't have to wind yourself up about it. You can just move on and find an account that's more suited to you. There are so many different accounts out there, and it takes all sorts to make a world. That's the beauty of it. That's why it always makes me laugh, like when I posted that how to tidy a messy house when you're overwhelmed video. The amount of people that commented, "Why let it get this bad?" That's irrelevant. The mess has already happened. And I made the video to show people how to deal with it after the fact, not prevent it. There are plenty of videos out there teaching people how to be more organised and on the ball. My videos are centred around what to do when things have already gotten out of hand. Because yes, we'd all love to be on top form all of the time, and as much as we have great intentions, sometimes life doesn't care about those intentions. And I'm here to lend a helping hand when maybe it's all gotten a bit too much, and you desperately want to make a change. Or when you don't know where to start and the kind of motivation that you need is watching someone else tackle a huge mess. Because then you've seen it can be done and it is possible. Or maybe you just need the encouragement of listening to a friend as you tackle your daily chores. I'm here to be that friend. Anyway, I'm just putting away the laundry, trying to keep on top of it so I know where everything is before we start packing. And my perfectly made bed has just been destroyed. How very dare he. And Rudy's back home and we're on to the final room of the house. I asked him to tackle Toy Corner with me while Charlie made dinner for us. When Rudy gets into the flow of tidying, he always asks for more and more tasks, so I can tell he gets a great sense of accomplishment out of it, and that's a really good sign. Because that wasn't the case for me as a child. Instead of accomplishment, I got rage. You can tell he keeps getting distracted by the toys every now and then, but so do I when I'm tidying, so I can't really say anything. We're not in any rush, so as long as the job gets done, that's all that matters really, isn't it? I was just so relieved that after 2 days of blooming hard work, it was almost done. And now I get to go and be carefree and enjoy my holiday without the weight of what we're coming back home to on my mind. And yeah, we're all done and that's the end of this video. I really hope you enjoyed watching. And now I'm going to go and enjoy my week off. And I'll be back soon with a big decluttering video.